Silence. What's the loudest sound you've ever heard? A storm rolling across the world when you were a child. The crack of thunder directly overhead that sends you darting toward your parents to hide under blankets with them, certain the night sky would split in two and collapse onto the surface. The vehicle collision. The raw bang of the impact, followed by the concussion crunch of shearing metal and grating screech of alloy on concrete. Then comes the screaming. Thank your choice of deity for crumple zones and airbags. That trip to the museum is part of your early education, the one where they fire the archaic kinetic rifle. Even with hearing protection, it's still loud enough to make several of the others gasp. A moment after, the acrid fumes from the chemical propellants burn your eyes and make you double over, coughing. Your professional sports team takes the championship game. 180,000 cheering fans, their roars of applause and chants of victory shaking the multi-story foundations of the mega stadium. Their fanatical praise merges into a cacophony of ecstatic fervor. It's not a game, it's a religion, and the winning team has just gained entrance to Elysium. Then you move off-world. You used to think those pro sports crowds were loud. You learn what loud means that first night your new friends invite you to a HFY blood match. Loud means 250,000 jacked-up fanatics, drugged on blood and bets, howling for death until the Colosseum threatens to crack under the reverberating roar. When the bolt bouncer blast slams into the concrete a finger span from your head, that kinetic at the museum was firing blanks a great distance away. This energy weapon is shot by a broker who wants you dead. You don't remember the bolts being this loud in the films. The thud of the seal being stamped on your jump docks. So stark in that Spartan room you flinch. That stamp just sealed your fate. It's a good contract, you keep telling yourself, but the thud echoes with morbid finality in the stillness. Taking the plea deal is better than prison. Only a dozen revolutions as part of a deep mining crew, and the Corps-wide gambling ban is going to help you. Time to repay your debt to society. Remember that first night on the Outer Rim? You were always told the void was cold and dead, but as you lie overheated in that too-small bunk, you realize it's a myth repeated only by on-worlders. Your bunkmate's respiration, the ceaseless hum of the ventilation system, the perpetual rumble of artigrav, the electronic buzz of atmo-regulators, all audible over the distant thunder of drive engines. The moments pass slowly, every instant forcing your hearing to pick up ever more subtle details. Ships are never mute, you begin to understand that night. If any one of those amalgam of sounds were hushed for more than half a turn, you wouldn't see the next jump point. You don't get any sleep that first turn, because in the dead silence, surrounded by nothing but 1,000,000 light-years of hollow void, every detail of that ship is deafening. The memory of the tunnel sends an involuntary shiver dragging icy fingers down your spine. The ear-splitting shriek of the support pillar failing, followed an instant later by the blaring klaxon sensing the pressure deltas. You barely have time to register panic before 500,000 tons of mineral-rich asteroid collapse, dragged down by the gravity of the massive mining colony. Only quick thinking and a repulsor bike get you out. You've jumped every FTL lane across the Outer Rim, one of them with a malfunctioning relay station, survived half a dozen mining disasters, escaped a collision during a docking misalignment, know the inside of more than a handful of holding cells, patched a venting hull in the void, and been on the wrong side of more than a few pulse rifles. The contract ran out a while ago, but this has become your life, way out on the edge of the black. Besides, they dumped a mess of credits into your accounts when you re-signed. Because you can handle it. You don't jump when monsters go bang in the night. But the pirates hit hard and fast, and the noise of the broadside impacting your ship makes even you pale. You thought you've heard something loud before, but you haven't. There's no way to describe the sick horror of a plasma cannon smashing skid-loader-sized holes through the hull. Nothing like the concussive detonation of an energy pulse sending liquefied alloy erupting through the fuselage, followed by the guzzling maw of the void sucking the atmo from your lungs. But that's not the part that truly frightens you, because it's half a turn later, after you alone live on your ship with a hole through your belly, that you can appreciate the loudest sound in the universe. What's the loudest sound you've ever heard? It's silence. No drive engines, no FTL link-ups, no ventilation or oxygen scrubbers, wrecked thermoregulatory systems leaving you panting through the thick, stale atmo. The consoles and LED readouts are blank, lifeless screens and muted switches. They crippled the comms, cut the lines, and mangled the antennas. The ship is silent. Silence is the void. The void is death. Silence is death. Silence. Silence is 1,000,000 square light years of nothing. The knocking on the hull echoes with finality through the ship, but not the finality of death, because there is no sound in the void. But the salvage rig has life on it, and life makes noise. Miracle. Remember that first night on the rig? You can't sleep again, listening to your bunkmate's respiration, the ceaseless hum of the ventilation system, the perpetual rumble of arty-grav, the electronic buzz of atmo regulators, all against the backdrop of distant thunder from the drive engines. You just want to listen. Noise is movement and atmo and creatures. Where there is sound, there is life. You just close your eyes and listen. The ship is loud in the quiet. It's subtle, almost a galactic standard revolution later, creeping through the void like smoke in the night. The outer rim is going dark, muffled like a landscape buried in icy snow. The void is treacherous, you all tell yourselves. Accidents happen this far out from the core, and you believe it for a while. But rumors travel fast this far from civilization, and the stories coming back from the edge make even the outer worlders uneasy. You've heard stories before, tales from creatures too long in the deep. But this is different. This is long-range mining crews vanishing without a distress beacon. This is freighters found drifting with stolen cargo. This is missing trajectory reports and forced rerouting of comm signals. This is silence, an insidious dead space inexorably devouring the homeworlds of a great civilization. It's going to be too late when the core notices. Sound distracts from the quiet. And there is trade, politics, scientific and artistic discoveries, entertainment of all kinds. Money talks and speech covers the silence. You try to get out when you realize, when the blackout veil draws tighter and tighter across the outer rim. But you can't hear the silence in time, and you find yourself on the wrong side of a war. It's a war unlike any the galaxies have ever seen. It's a war of primal savagery and inexorable ferocity. A holy war. A crusade by a demonic species from beyond the black, unleashed from the abyss like an elder god's vengeance. Brutality such as this has not been known in living memory. Is war the loudest sound you've ever heard? You're there when the broadside lines meet, when the cannons flare like stars in the void. You're aboard when the commanders are shouting orders to the gun crews. You're listening to the empty static from the comms, ship after ship. Dread fills your belly as you watch your allies melt away. Science that has only been theorized is now reality. These creatures do not rely on FTL lanes and relay stations to travel the galaxy, because they can jump, virtually omnipresent, with weapons that have firing solutions before they've dropped from hyperspace. Nowhere is safe, and when they materialize with that otherworldly crack, their guns and their stormtroopers hit hard. The military capabilities of this species rival that of even the core worlds. Tech and tactics far beyond anything you've heard of on the outer rim. You rupture some eardrums that time half your troop transport blows apart. A mass driver slams a 1,500-kilogram depleted uranium slug through your carrier at an appreciable fraction of C. Half a moment later, another railgun punches an HE round through the breached hull. The computer barely has time to seal the bulkheads before a fireball consumes the high-oxy atmo. You can hear the screaming through the blast doors. It haunts you for a long time, shrieking in your skull when you try to sleep. The first time you're fired on by kinetic rifles, the acrid fumes bring back memories of that school trip so much time ago. Firefights leave your ears whining. Energy weapons don't have the same bang. It's several cycles before they start issuing the helmets with adjusted hearing protection and filters. The inferno escalates like fuel cell wildfire across the frontiers. In panic, the core lashes out, striking advanced stations and carrier docks with the full strength of its available fleets. Ancient alliances are renewed, reserves are called up, federations mobilize. Millions of ships and billions of soldiers muster across the stars, their rifles and hulls to resist the black, the clamor of their rally to stay the silence. Against the total might of the galactic assembly, even the monsters from the black cannot hold. But they do not give back the void gently. They fall back amidst the thunder of mass drivers and impact of uranium slugs. Their retreat is covered under the roar of drive engines and spitfire of point defense systems. And when they begin to lose, their tactics shift from brutal to cruel. Blood and ash slogging through radiation-seared planets and skulking the burned-out hulls of dreadnoughts. Incendiary rounds detonating behind armor plating while klaxons blare their warning. Hull breach, pressure suits and oxygen masks, kinetic rifles and energy weapons. The howl of Atmo over drag fins as capital ships fall from the sky like shooting stars. The impassive voice of the computer, torpedoes inbound, brace. Pyrrhic victory after Pyrrhic victory. You sleep through orbital bombardment, because noise is life, even if the life brings death. You've heard something louder. The motion scrapes by the tribunal. Barely. The representatives from the core worlds assemble to meet the envoy from the edge of the black, begging for peace. You're here with the others when the envoy's ship docks. The others who are called war heroes. An honor guard. But that's a sham. You're here to hold back the fury of the crowds. Creatures who have lost comrades, friends, family, homeworld systems. Jeers and yells and threats of revenge. Millions who want no end to the war. The uproar reaches a crescendo when the envoy steps off the ship. The personification of all that is horrific in the universe. It's small and compact, muscled, moving easily in this world's lower gravity. Encased in an armored pressure suit because of the Atmo it can't breathe. But louder even than the roaring horde is the broadcast, linked to every system in the settled worlds. You stand before this council accused of war crimes, such atrocities and depravity that mere words cannot describe. You look at the void dark helmet of the envoy, basilisk stare. Your species' transgressions are innumerable and unforgivable. The galactic collective is unified in purpose. Your homeworlds are exposed and your position is untenable. You will submit to the sanctions or face extinction. All eyes turn toward the accused. But the Terran is silent.